The state of Michigan is the spring and summer home to more than 95% of the population of a small songbird.
Today we're out here looking for KW or Kirtland's Warbler, doing a census.
We are getting set up for the census that we're about to do, and so we've got our maps of the site, and we're just filling out the data sheets, the date, our names, the site location, all that good stuff, and then we'll be ready to head out and start to walk a transect and count some birds.
Every 4 years, Michigan's DNR conducts a census to get an accurate count of how many breeding pairs of Kirtland's warblers are in the state.
Census is where we basically try to get a count of every single singing male in the population. And so it's quite an effort. It takes quite a number of staff and volunteers to help out to survey all of the available habitat that we have that we manage for Kirtland's Warbler, and this is both on DNR lands, and it also takes place on U.S. Forest Service lands here in Michigan, and then it also takes place on the Wisconsin DNR as well.
During their breeding season, Kirtland's warblers can only be found in Michigan, Wisconsin, and Ontario. They require a very specific type of habitat.
Kirtland's Warbler is one of the rarest and most range-restricted species in North America, and that's because it's a habitat specialist. It relies on young jack pine between 5 and 20 years old for habitat, and particularly young jack pine that is on sandy glacial outwash plains. They're a ground nester, so you can imagine that if you've got your nest on the ground, you would want a dry substrate, right? So those sandy soils are very well drained.
Historically, the habitat of the KW was managed naturally through fire, but now that is typically done differently in Michigan.
This would have been wildfires, right? And so this would have been uncontrolled wildfires across the landscape. Now with people and homesteads intermixed in this outwash plain, it's difficult to do that. Although we're working on it with research to try to move in that direction in some capacity. But the main way that we create that disturbance that fire generally would have in the past is by doing a timber sale and then planting a plantation like we're standing in right now.
The way that we try to do it is to grow these trees up to a commercial maturity, commercial marketability, and then that way the removal of the trees is basically paid for. So that's how we keep this program self-sustaining, but you know, it doesn't cover all of the costs of the program, but it's enough to get the trees off of the site, and then we rely on other partners to help us with funds for the cost of the seedlings, etc.
There's a couple different ways that you could regenerate the stand after a timber sale occurs. One of the ways is through natural regeneration, right? So you have mature jack pine that has cones on them. After you do the cut, you leave that slash behind. Those cones open up and disperse seed, and then you have natural regeneration in that way, particularly if you have a pretty decent rain in the beginning half of the summer where things can get established. But the other way, and the way that we do it for a majority of the acreage for Kirtland's Warbler, is via artificial regeneration. So we have little seedlings that we grow for a year in a nursery, and then we outplant them on sites like this.
In addition to Kirtland's warblers, other species benefit from the habitat that these small songbirds prefer.
So you can hear some of the other bird species that are using this habitat along with Kirtland's Warbler. We've been hearing some field sparrows. There's also eastern towhees, Nashville warblers, Lincoln sparrows, Vesper sparrows, all kinds of other birds use the same habitat as Kirtland's Warbler, so this provides a lot of good habitat for other species as well. Species like woodcock and turkey use them. We also get some big animals that use these areas as well. We get a lot of use by black bear, by coyote, by deer, and also by elk up in the elk range. All my years of doing this, I've never seen one that close. That's awesome.
Yeah, that worked out well.
Yeah. So Kirtland's Warbler is truly Michigan's bird. It is part of what makes Michigan unique. It is part of Michigan's natural heritage. People come from all over the world to see this bird, and it's part of our state's legacy to pass on to future generations, and that's why the work that we do is so important.